Hello, all beginner and newbie runners out there. If you've taken your first steps into the world of endurance running, you're in the right place. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk about a fundamental concept which I believe can really benefit beginner runners early on in their training program, and that is the idea of running for time and not distance early on in your training program. So chuck on your Rob runners and let's get into it. Let's go. Firstly, if you've reached a point in your training where you can continuously run for 15 to 20 minutes, then you're ready to enter into a more structured training program, which is a great milestone to achieve. However, one common mistake that beginner runners may make, not all, but some, particularly when following generic online training programs, is running for set distances for sessions when they might not be ready. Now, for example, what I mean by this is your training program might tell you to run a 10 kilometer or 5 kilometer session for a particular session. While running for distance isn't inherently wrong, and people programming distances for sessions isn't inherently wrong, it can be inappropriate for slower or beginner runners. So let me explain. So here's a scenario. Imagine we have two newbie runners. We've got Sean and we've got Kobe, who are both following the same training program that prescribes a 10 kilometer run for one of their sessions. Sean takes a leisurely 60 minutes to complete the 10K, so he's got his money's worth. And then we have Kobe, on the other hand, who finishes the same 10 kilometers in a slicker 45 minutes. In this scenario, Sean ends up being disadvantaged because he's the slower runner. Here's the problem. Sean spends longer time on his feet and takes more steps to finish the 10 kilometers compared to Kobe. Over time, especially during the early stages of a training program where your body can be a bit more susceptible to injuries and overuse, this increased time on your feet could lead to more strain and a greater injury risk. Now, I'm not saying that's certain, but it could lead to a greater risk. Now, 15 minutes doesn't seem like that much in isolation, but if we stretch this out to over a full 4-day program, and even over multiple and successive weeks, then you can see that it can become an issue. So let's prescribe some random sessions over a week, and it might become more apparent. So for example, a 4-day program, we can see that Kobe completes his weekly program a lot faster than what Sean does. Sean has spent substantially more time on his feet to complete the work, which might not be appropriate for him or even Kobe as well. At the end of the day, we can see that Sean has completed a lot more training time to finish the distances compared to Kobe. Furthermore, Sean might be pushing himself to the limit to complete these sessions solely because the program demands it, which might not be suitable for his current fitness level. But there's always a solution. Instead of focusing on set distances, we can program our training for time. Now, what I mean by that is we can prescribe Kobe and Sean each with a 45-minute session so we can better manage the time they both spend on their feet, and then hopefully minimize the temptation to chase certain distances when they might not be physically capable just yet. Over the weekly view again, so if we go back, we can prescribe to make sure it's also appropriate for the individual. So again, prescribing for time across the week. If Kobe shows a better capacity to run at this point, then we may need to make him run a little bit more. However, I think that beginner runners can forget that they can progress their training by increasing the time they run, not necessarily just the intensity, distance, or how many times per week they run as well. So I think that you can also get a lot out of training, not just by increasing your mileage, which is important to know. Again, once Sean and Kobe show us some improvements in their training, we can gradually increase their running time, which is going to naturally improve the distances they run with respective to their own abilities at that point. And most likely the pace at which they cover these distances is going to improve as a natural training stimulus and adaptation. Remember, as a beginner, it's crucial to concentrate on the time on your feet when you first start out on your running journey. And always remember the philosophy that you want to be training and not straining. So training is, you're consistent in your sessions, you're enjoying your sessions, you've got good durability and you're seeing improvement. Whereas straining is forcing yourself to punch out the sessions. Even though you're tired, fatigued, your performance may be decreasing and you have to increase your effort to get the sessions done. So we always want to stay on that side of training, particularly early on when you're first starting out. And also pay attention to the time on your feet away from running as well. So remember, we only have one body which ultimately keeps the score. And what I mean by that is if you're on your feet all day at work and you're also trying to balance some running training in, you've got to understand that you're probably going to be fatigued from either work or running or both. So it's important that if you're a tradesperson and you're on the tools all day, then you might need to adapt and manage your training or your running volume anyway. You might need to reduce that to make sure that your body is coping with your work and your running as well. So always keep that in mind, that your stresses outside of running also contribute to your overall fatigue levels as well. So always keep that in mind and manage it where you need to. Manage your training where you need to. Well, it's a bit ironic, but we've gone the distance and we've run out of time in this video. So I hope that you got something worthwhile out of the video today, and hopefully it's made your training more enjoyable, injury-free, and hopefully productive overall. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. Make running great again, and we'll see you in the next video. Now, I will leave you with one quote that I think is pertinent relating to today's discussion, and that is from Jack Daniels, which is not the one out of the liquor bottle, but the running coach. Stress is a function of time spent doing something, so slow runners are often stressed more. A 20-mile run will take a slow runner 3 or more hours to complete. This means that the slow runner has taken 50% more steps. It is the number of steps that can wear you down. To avoid overtraining and injury, a slow runner may have to take less total mileage than a faster runner. Deep, profound, meaningful. See you later.